This is the spirit of Russia and the spirit of the Russian people. I think that they were able to share with us the African culture. And today we have more than one meeting. And I would like to talk to the President of the Arab Republic of Egypt, President El-Sisi, and all the African presidents and leaders. I would like to welcome you all to Russia-Africa Summit. It's a great honor for us to receive you. Here we have a number of countries convening together, and this is the first time in the modern history that Russia meets with the African leaders and presidents. I would like to mention that Russia-Africa Summit is a very important summit, and President El-Sisi played an important role in organizing and holding this summit in his capacity as the chair of the African Union. He helped us with the preparation of this summit. Today, I'm honored to co-chair this summit with President El-Sisi. Russia and Africa have long friendship, and throughout the Russian history we have supported different small African countries. We've helped them fight colonization. This summit is considered to be the nucleus of the African-Russian cooperation. One of the main goals for Russia right now is increasing socio-economic political cooperation between Russia and Africa. This forum should be the basis for identifying policies, especially in light of the hegemony of the several superpowers in the world right now. We are trying also to strengthen relations between African countries and between African countries on one hand and Russia on the other hand. We're trying also to establish a free, just world. We need to fight the different ideas that are controlling the world now and preventing it from cooperation. We need also to reinforce the security protocols and agreements to achieve stability and peace in the world. We are also trying as much as we can to attain peace in Africa and to peacefully settle conflicts and disputes. And we believe that the solutions to African problems should emanate from Africa. We would like also to support different mechanisms for the payment of money through the UN. Also, terrorism is the biggest threat to the development of the African continent. Also, this is the issue of drug trafficking and piracy. We need also to fight all these things. Also, we need to see how we can achieve stability in the Arab countries and in North African countries due to the Arab winter, which destabilized these countries and supported terrorist organizations like ISIS and Al-Qaeda. We are trying to contact with the different ministers of defense and interior in the African countries to share experiences to fight terrorism seriously. We are also calling upon the youth to come to study in Russia. And we are supporting the African countries in developing their weapons technology. We are cooperating with 30 African countries in exporting arms and weapons to protect Africa and the security in African countries. We are teaching them also and training them on using these weapons. So we have worked with the armies of 20 African countries and we have joint drills with them, and we have also military maneuvers in which more than 11 countries in Africa participated. We are also trying to develop the economic relations between Russia and Africa, because the trade exchange with Africa is just 20 million US dollars, and we've recently, due to this cooperation, increased it threefolds. We also want imports and exports to be more advanced and not to focus just on raw materials. We are also contributing to petroleum and natural gas projects in Africa. We are sharing the recent and top-notch technology with the African countries. A number of participants participated yesterday in Russia-Africa Summit, during which a lot of new proposals and ideas were made to enhance commercial and economic cooperation. Let me re-emphasize the importance of capacity building and education. So now in Russia we have more 17,000 Africans as students, and we annually give grants and scholarships to 1,800 African students, and we are looking forward to expanding the number. There are good horizons for cooperation in the field of health care. We are working with the Research Center for Epidemics in Guinea, and I think that we can also study opening another research center for diseases in the African continent. I think that it's very useful to study the expansion of industrial cooperation through communicating with the different African organizations and agencies. Yesterday we discussed with the different African blocs this issue, and we will sign today a memorandum of understanding between the Euro-Asian Council as well as the AU Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all very much interested in Russian-African integrated cooperation. So we've discussed the establishment of a forum for Russian-African partnership, as we discussed yesterday with the colleagues over lunch, that we will hold this forum on a regular basis every 3 years, and we can hold a summit for the African leaders. And between these summits, we will have annual political consultations between the ministers of foreign affairs. I think that everyone would support this proposal, and in this context we'll go on developing Russia-African relations. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your due listening, and I will give the floor now to His Excellency President El-Sisi, the current chair of the African Union and the co-chair of the summit. Thank you, Your Excellency, the President, in the name of God, the most merciful, the most compassionate, Mr. Vladimir Putin, the President of Russia, Your Excellencies, the heads of states and governments in Africa, Mr. Musa Faqih Mohammed, the head of the AU Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, at the outset, I would like to express my gratitude and appreciation to President Vladimir Putin and the Russian people and Sochi nice city for the hospitality and the excellent organization of this summit that we all witnessed since we arrived on the land of Russia. I would like also to extend thanks to all the organizers for the excellent preparation and the efforts exerted to launch the first edition of Russia-African Summit that is launched today. It gives me pleasure to talk today in this important event in front of this galaxy on the land of Russia about the most important developments and about the cooperation with a friend to the African continent. Africa-Russian cooperation has taken great strides since mid-last century, when Russia started cooperating with the African Union in its battle against colonization, and they provided financial and logistical support to the African liberation movements across Africa. Over the past years, it was proved that the Russian people and the African nations have a lot of pillars for cooperation, and they have similarities regarding the challenges and the aspirations. That's why the Russian-African cooperation is so important and should be more comprehensive to reflect these aspirations and to provide a bigger space for coordination pertaining to the accelerating challenges we are facing within the framework of a changing dynamic world. We are convening today in the first summit between the African countries and Russia under the slogan for peace, security and development after the 3 months of the extraordinary meeting of the African Union that witnessed launching the executive mechanisms for the African Continental Free Trade Zone after it came into force. And this agreement is considered to be one of the most important pillars of the development of African Agenda 2063, as it seeks achieving regional integration and increasing the competitiveness of the African continent at the international level, as well as motivating and attracting foreign direct investments in the priority fields for the African countries, on top of which is industry, power, energy, agriculture, telecommunication and information technology. Countries of the African Union are seeking to build upon the economic development in Africa over the past 10 years, especially through achieving integration to finalize all the continental projects. that aim at achieving regional integration, and also the African countries are exerting a lot of efforts to set frameworks for corporate governance and governance of capital markets to achieve stability to their markets and attract foreign investors. Ladies and gentlemen, we totally realize the challenges facing stability in the African continent, and our ambitious plan to put an end to wars by the end of 2020 is considered to be the first important step to settle these conflicts, and this would be a top priority for the African leaders over the next year in light of its importance to achieve the aspirations of the African nations to enjoy peace and prosperity. In this context, we find that there is a dire need to support the framework policy of the African Union to achieve reconstruction in the post-conflict era and to support reconstruction and development in the African countries. Through the center that is hosted by Egypt and the implementation mechanism that support countries in the post-conflict period to build their institutions once more, to play their role in protecting the countries and to attain peace and sustainability and development. Here we would like to emphasize our commitment to cooperate with regional and international partners due to the fact that we understand the importance of coordination between peace and security, regional, international, and continental mechanisms within the framework of the respect of international law, as well as non-intervention in the internal affairs of the countries and settling conflicts peacefully, in addition to upholding multilateral actions. We need all to remember that confronting terrorism is considered to be a priority for the African and international peace and security agenda. We realize how difficult and complicated that battle is. So comprehensive confrontation is the best opportunity to eradicate terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, the African continent is open to cooperation with different partners, and we wish through this summit to put the basis for the African-Russian cooperation for the coming years, as well as emphasizing the importance of opening the horizons for such a relationship to include industry, commerce, trade, societal, cultural, and educational aspects. And the principle of equal partnership and just partnership between Russia and Africa in a win-win situation, as well as the ownership of the African countries to their resources. Ladies and gentlemen, our current summit is focusing on peace, security, and development. So in this context, I would like to refer to the fact that Egypt will launch the first edition of Aswan Forum for Peace and Development on the 11th and 12th December to be a regional and continental forum in which intellects, leaders, peacemakers, and development partners would meet in the city of Aswan, the gem of the river Nile, to reflect the African identity of Egypt. We will work on this forum to be a platform for communication and dialogue between the leaders, decision makers, and experts from all African countries to focus on peace on one hand, sustainable development on the other, as well as developing relevant mechanisms to come into effect and to be reactivated in the African continent. I would like to seize this opportunity to invite President Vladimir Putin and my brothers, the leaders of the African countries, to participate in this forum and to contribute to its discussions to enrich its main topics. At the end of my speech, I would like to emphasize that I'm looking forward to the recommendations of today's summit to be for the interest of the African nations and the Russians, and to enhance African-Russian cooperation in the future. Thank you, and peace be upon you all.
Уважаемый господин президент, большое спасибо вам за ваше выступление, за подготовку этого форума, за участие.
Thank you, the President, for this speech and for inviting us to participate in this forum. and for the efforts you exert to settle conflicts in Africa. It's a very good idea to hold this forum that you have suggested in Aswan. And now let me give the floor to the coming chair of the African Union, the President of the Republic of South Africa, Mr. Mafuza.
Thank you very much, our host and President of the Russian Federation.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the President of Russia. Thank you, the President of Egypt, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, the current chair of the African Union, Your Excellencies, the heads of states and governments. Let me first express my thanks for Russia for the hospitality and the excellent preparation for this summit in Sochi, this beautiful city. I would like to thank the organizing committee for organizing this historical summit. We find that this summit will open new opportunities for cooperation and coordination between African countries and Russia. Russia has always been a friend to Africa and has supported our struggle to independence. And this summit shows that Africa is moving forward in this cooperation. And it shows also that we are equally participating to this cooperation. We are ready to receive trade and investment. And we find now that the biggest area for free trade will be established in the African continent, and this would help the development of trade and its integration in the international economy. And the success of this free trade zone would depend on the rules we would set for the protection of international trade, as well as developing investments in the African countries. All African countries are cooperating together to attract foreign investments. We have a lot of investment opportunities, and also we have a lot of resources that can open new horizons for cooperation in the field of energy and also excavation for oil, natural gas, as well as increasing the production. And we would like to emphasize that Russia-Africa Business Forum had very good results that we need to translate on the ground. Globalization has led to a lot of grave changes in the relations between countries. So we are now seeking to improve the living conditions in our countries, and also there are challenges, and these challenges are the conflicts over the borders, as well as terrorism and organized crime. So we would like to ask Russia to move forward with supporting the efforts exerted to reform the international organizations. Our relation with Russia dates back to long years, and we are confident that this partnership would develop our relations through having a joint vision. And I wish the success to this summit and to all countries. Once more, I would like to thank Russia and congratulate it for holding this summit. Thank you, Your Excellency President Putin, for being the country that hosts this summit. Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency the President. And now we have special relations between Russia and South Africa, and we commend your efforts to develop the bilateral and regional relations. And I think that we will meet soon in Brasilia within the framework of BRICS countries meeting: Russia, India, China, South Africa. And we will discuss all the topics you raised. We will discuss the commercial concessions as well other things that support the international trade, and also those obstacles that impede the development of economies in the African countries. Thank you for reminding us about this. And now we'll give the floor to Musi Faqih Mohammed, the AU Commission Chairperson. Your Excellency, the President of Russia, Your Excellencies, the Presidents, Your Excellency, the current Chair of the African Union.